education system, but all the junk people around here and say, hey, get out there the night before. Easy pickings type of thing. You can combine this into a whole bunch of things, and we really didn't do, and my final point is, we didn't do the electronic waste very well. We put the bins in place and we said, but we didn't hustle, we didn't partner with anybody, we didn't, and most of the communities in the Blue Water District did partner with the Lions Club, they partnered with an Optimist Club, and they really hustled their electronic waste. They got tons because they did that thing. The local club talks to people, they go to the coffee shops, they get all their connections, right, and they talk it up. And I think it's the old trick of putting all the things together and using the appropriate resources. I don't personally think that we should be spending $40,000 on this. I think we've got enough resources in place to put it together in a lot cheaper and more educational way, because if you start the standard, then the standard is there. And if you go back to our waste management program, that was done. There's a lot of that in there. They're saying we've got to start something, but we should start it to get educated people, because if they don't have a tool, they can't use it right.
What you're talking about resembles more of what the people have been asking for, put it at the end of the lane and get rid of it.
We can see what happens.
See what happens with it, it either goes, or we clean it up at the end of it, that's the stuff that doesn't
Miss my point on that one. Miss my point on that one. I actually like what he's saying. City of North Bay, good exchange day.
Yeah.
Residents are responsible for disposal of their remaining items at the end of the day. I'm not saying we go out and collect items. I'm saying that what we do is we look at this holistically and we say that these are the items that might come out.
Yep.
Okay? And we put together all the package, all the different options. In other words, if somebody can ask you a question, Mr. Mayor, don't you think you should, you kind of surmise what the questions might be in advance? I mean, I know you do. And I think this is it with the waste. We do know what the waste stream is. We've broken it down into, we know what the waste stream is. So what we should be putting in place is a comprehensive plan that says is that, okay, at the end of the day, you're still responsible for your waste. I agree with you 100%, but I don't think we need to get into the business of picking up the end of the waste.
I have an idea just based on what everybody has said, because we do see it in our community, we do see these things, although I think the last couple of years it was only built about 3/4 of the way. The problem that you have living out here and not being close to landfill or waste disposal sites is when you have the old barbecue. The new one you bought, you look at the old and say, what do I do with it? The old lazy boy, the old couch that's torn to rat poop, you go, well, what do I do with it? The problem with laneway collection is you don't know what's there a lot of the time. The guy throws it on the truck and it could be radioactive. I mean, when we do our Huron Woods one, you got guys coming in with gas cans, you go, what are you doing? We told you we don't take the gas can. What? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to move that we go back to Plan B on this. I think we need to rework this, because I think what the deputy's saying has merit too. I think if we can pull things out of we are a very wasteful society, we know that. Go up to Blessings or any of these other secondhand stores, you see all kinds of stuff that could be. I'd like to move that we take another kick at the can on this with what you're saying, bring BRA into it, look at the different, I love your idea, I think the local community one is a much more doable one, it's less chaotic. That ridiculous one that Lambton County did last year where they brought everybody from their mother in was just insane. I had a bag of batteries or something, I waited there for an hour for a guy to take my batteries, ridiculous. So I'd like to move that we go back to Plan B, look at a hybrid of what we've talked about, and let's...
And if I may, I think splitting it up to the other communities is, I think all you're doing is breaking the event into chunks. I think you're still going to see the problem with, the biggest risk we have here is from our standpoint, is cost. And I think even if you put a bin in a small community, you can say that you can fill up that bin if you leave it overnight. I think you're still going to see a high volume of material come in. I think you'll see people further aside, and then we get to the point of who's policing this bin. I think all you do is you break up your, and this is just playing devil's advocate. You just spread out your problem to different areas where the biggest problem we're going to face, because we haven't done this for a decade, is the sheer volume of material that's going to come out, and that's what drives the cost of this thing.
It's the first time you do it. I don't know whether you were here when we got the first bin that came there.
No. It was chaotic.
The first one was there, the bin was put in, and it was supposed to start the next morning. By the next morning, the bin was full, and there was another bin beside the bin piled around it and over the top. You can't, and then we put in another bin to take that away, so the cost doubled on that. So there has to be a large amount of control if you're putting a bin someplace. back to Huron Woods again, not everybody is happy that their dues, they've looked after their garbage. They've looked after their large items by calling the numbers and having it disposed of through a user pay system. The association is paying for a bin, they're not using it. So you get that other side of it, there's a lot of people.
Wait a minute now, Mr. Mayor, I'm paying for a rink I don't use either, so.
Let's get out of here.
Okay.
Right?
So-
Let's not go down that road. But I just, let's reiterate here, Brent, because truthfully, I think we have to do something, I think we have to address this. I think the deputies, I think there's merit here, let's think out of the box. But I think Councilor Russell's hit the nail on the head. We have BRA, they are expert in this. Let's, have you sat down with BRA?
In defense to Jeff and I have worked extensively in the waste management business for a long time. I don't think there's any expertise at BRA that's going to deal with non-hazardous waste. I think if we went to Francis and talked to him, we're peers in this industry, and we'd understand it. What we have here is a problem that people don't know how to get rid of non-hazardous municipal solid waste. And I know it's not your point, but I don't.
Could they help, Brent?
I think they could help by giving us a bigger facility to do that. I think they can help by giving us bins, but I don't see them helping us reduce the cost here.
So let me go back to the
Except for
motion
the
that I made
education
earlier. I'd like to rework this, I'd like to go back at this, because I do think the budget's excessive for it, I really don't. I know in the north end we have a seasonal issue too. We have a lot of seasonal people that come in and say, gee, let's get rid of that couch, it smells like mothballs.
Well, and the challenge you have in a seasonal community, and we found this when I was in Blue Water, is you have a lot of people coming from the city that bring up their waste from home and bring it that day as well. So not only you're getting, waste from the residents here, you're getting waste from their entire block of community in Waterloo where they live. Because we found that was the biggest problem when we did this at Blue Water, was you would see in front of a home 16 homes worth of large items. And that's I'm not saying this thing's impossible, and I don't want council to take that as my opinion. I think it's possible it'll be a challenge, but these are, this is not a new event for me. These are things that you have to really think about, and I just need to stress that when we hold this thing, we have to be prepared for whatever we imagine the volume's gonna be. I think you need to double or triple that in a conservative estimate on this first year, and be ready to deal with that volume. And the fact that we don't operate our own landfill and have to pay full tipping fees means it's gonna be costly.
How's your cook?
Well, I just go back to what the mayor started off the conversation with. The people I used to know in our area have asked for one thing, not asking for recycling at any stretch. They're just asking to get rid of some large item dump. So that's the way I would look at the program initially, is large item dump, get rid of it. The recycling side of it, if someone's there to police to check and see if a coffee table's coming in, it looks like it could be reused, it's set the coffee table aside, or whatever it is, that's up to somebody else to do that. But I think the program, the way I saw it, was just get rid of your large item garbage, recycle or not in
So,
the program.
two more and then we'll go back to Councilor McGuire.
The way I look at it is our current system is user pay. I put a garbage bag on the curb, I pay for that garbage when it's taken away. If I go out and get a couch, want it removed, I call somebody, I pay for the service. It's the same, and it's consistent across the board. I've gotten dumpsters from BRA and paired up with my neighbor and said, hey, you know what, I'm gonna spend $200 a dumpster, let's go halves, we'll load it up. And again, user pay, I pay for it. And I think if we stay with that kind of system, there's businesses that are being started in municipalities, there's new waste bin companies that are starting up. Obviously, the need's there, and it's promoting the local businesses and money back in the economy. We also have the service clubs, like you said, that are available. I think education is key. We put on the website, here's how you do it. Call these people do this. Give me some ideas. We'll find a way.
Deputy Mayor Dave?
I think that if we were just taking it away to the dump, that would be a legitimate point. But I think the intent of this from the beginning was that we'd actually be benefiting other people in our community, not only the charities, but the residents too. If there's something of value, oftentimes you do see something that has a couple more years in it available. So even though, yes, you're benefiting the person by getting rid of it, but you're benefiting others, giving them the option of actually taking something that has value still. And that's what I'd like us to focus on. So, and the other thing was, if we have it in several sites in the community, maybe, south, middle, mid, north, maybe 3 sites, maybe more, who knows?